You can feel it in the air. The season is around the corner. And with that in mind, that means the Michigan Wolverines are the thick of camp. So we are very blessed. We are very lucky to be joined by our quarterback, Alex Orji. Alex, I know you got named to the freaks list. This is where I want to start here because I know we're on a crunch of time. First, what is your body fat percentage, and how do you find out you're on the freaks list? Let's start there a little bit.
Body fat percentage is somewhere around 10 or 11, I think, something like that. I don't think it's anything crazy. We got plenty of guys on the team that are pretty low. But
Yeah.
just figuring out I was on the freaks list. Obviously, it got released while we were in camp, and you know how camp can be. You don't really see the sun come up or go down, but a lot of that time you're in meetings and you're always doing something, not really on your phone. But kind of in between meetings, going back and forth. Kept getting tagged in a few things here and there, and then not really looking at any of them. And then the football, UMich football account had tagged me in something, and so I think it was I want to say Will or KG had texted me, and then so just seeing the four of us on there was awesome. And then obviously talking to Coach Tress, the one who talks to Bruce Feldman about all those type of things. He kind of gave us a little insight ahead of time, let us know that he was going to be talking to him just about the different things we were doing throughout the summer, and that he was gonna drop a few nuggets here and there, kind of put us on.
Yeah, I just think that list is really cool. It's a good way to kind of transition from summer, okay, we're in camp, to hey, here's some guys to keep an eye on this fall. Obviously, you've been in the heat of that quarterback battle, throughout camp, and to be on the freaks list is definitely an honor. And I kind of wanted to start there because I remember a few years ago I was watching practice with the Big Ten Network, and they said, "Hey, Alex, he's going to be returning kicks this year." You were like you were the second string returner under Jim, right? And I'm watching you practice. I'm
Yeah.
like, my goodness, you look like a Greek god. But before we get there, I would love to know how you've evolved as a passer. That's the number one thing. And what would you credit that to? Because I believe you can run the ball. We saw it with our own two eyes last year, and we've heard the whispers. But for you, this spring, this summer, this camp, what's different about Alex Orji at this point in time in your career than in the past?
I think that one, the biggest thing is confidence, and just kind of, I would say, comfortability within the pocket, but also kind of knowing how to deal with discomfort in certain aspects. I think that everything over the past 8 months of my development, I would credit to the Lord up above. It's been awesome just building that relationship with Him and strengthening it. And then on top of that, just having my family that I can always talk to no matter what's going on, just makes me feel like no matter what I'm doing, I know that I'm getting better. I
Mhm.
know that I'm adding value, especially to the team. Talking to Coach Kurt Campbell all the time is just like it's amazing to have someone like him as the coordinator and quarterback coach, because that no matter what you do, as long as you're, giving your 100% effort and trying to learn from every rep, he's going to make sure that you are getting better. He's going to let you know, like, where you did good, where you did bad, but it's never going to be um, very emotion based. It's always going to be from a place from a place of love, but at the same time, knowing that he's going to tell you the real. So it's awesome having him, and just, he's coaching up everybody the same way. He's coaching us up the same way that he would coach his 4-year-old daughter if she was playing quarterback. It's
Mhm.
just he's going to be hard on us, but he's going to love us up just the same way.
I heard a lot of stories about how, he benefited JJ. And I look at JJ's preseason game, and this was a point I made in some of my pre draft conversations where, hey, at this level, everyone can throw the ball 50 yards. I mean, you might be able to throw it 65 and someone might be able to throw it 50 for whatever. But I look at JJ and I say, man, the evolution of how he's been able to process the playbook and the defenses. And I remember a quote by Patrick Mahomes early in his career where he said his rookie year, he didn't even know what cover 3 was or cover 2 was. Now that you've been in a college system and you've been working with Kurt Campbell, how has your knowledge of opposing defenses changed? How comfortable are you with the reads and the playbooks at this point?
I think that between having him and not having him has been night and day. If I'm being honest, I think that he's such a smart football mind. He knows so much about the game, and it's not like it's hard to even say that he knows so much about it. It's like he lives and breathes football, really, and like offensive architecture is the name of his game. The way that he sometimes even last year going through the season, he would kind of start to move pretty fast just because certain things it's like he sees it and it's like the ABCs for him, and it's like the way he sees defense so quickly and different things like that. It's like he's really just one of those like great football minds, and so sometimes we're either playing catch up or like trying to tell him to slow down, but it's like once he got all of us speaking the same language and looking through the same vision, it's kind of crazy to see. If you sat in on one of our meetings, there's certain times and certain catchphrases that he'll say, and we're all just finishing each other's sentences because we're all speaking the same language, we're all seeing things the same way. So it's not only the way that he's able to see, process, and enhance knowledge of football, but he's also able to teach others, and bring our level of knowledge up to that kind of next level.
So the L.A.B podcast is brought to you by Wolverine Boots and Apparel, which represents that blue collar work ethic whenever and wherever it shows up, whether that's on a job site or on the football field. And really cool chance to say thank you to our sponsors, Wolverine. This is a limited edition. As you guys, I'm going to try to get it right here for you guys. You can see it. Limited edition work boots. It is called the 1,000-mile boot, commemorative, really chance to reflect on Team 144. Obviously, you can see the blue leather. You got the maze stitching right here, the block M right here in the middle. So there's a ton of details, of course, that represent just a really quality boot. They smell great. They feel great in your hands. And it's a chance to, reflect as we're on the precipice of a new season, reflect on the principles that represent Wolverine and that represent the Wolverine football team that allowed that team last year to go 15-0, to win the Big Ten title, to win the national title, do something that had never been done in Michigan history, which is 15 wins in a season. So want to take a chance, say thank you to our sponsor, to Wolverine, to let you guys know about this limited edition boot. Really represents perfectly the community, the brand Wolverine, and you guys as part of our fan base as well. So chance for you guys to get your hands on it. You can head over to wolverine.com/blue collar. So there's effectively a big trust here with Coach, in the sense that, you are learning a language, but as long as you can learn it, are you trying to basically see the game through his eyes? Is that an area that you feel you're trying to add to your game now as you're in this quarterback competition?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I learned my freshman year, just from having him call plays, that fall camp, was it's extremely important to know what your play caller and quarterback coach is trying to accomplish with each play that he's calling. If he's calling a certain play, he's calling it for a reason, depending on what defense we could see. Not just, we call all go special and we're just throwing a go ball for no reason. He's always going to have a reason and a rhyme behind what he's trying to do. So I think the most important thing is, speaking that same language and thinking alike, because then when he calls the play, you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, let's do this right here. So I think it really helps just understanding what he's trying to accomplish and what we want to do, because then, especially with the coach comms being in the helmet right now, it leaves a lot less up to the imagination. Sometimes he could just let us know while he's calling the play, like let us know, like alert for this or be looking out for this, and then certain things you're thinking about it. He says it, whatever it is, and you can relay it to the people in the huddle, the linemen, all that stuff like that. And so it really helps. Also, just with the mentality of going in there, like I said, it's just another level of confidence.
That's a great point, and I always felt that was important. Is if you can answer the why, like why was this play called? That's when you start to unlock those layers and you see the game through coach's eyes. And in the helmet comms is something that I feel isn't getting enough attention. Could you kind of break down for us? Assume I don't know anything about football. Could you break down what's different for you as a quarterback this year? What's going to be different this fall?
I think that obviously Michigan, we're a pretty pro style offense, so we get in the huddle a decent amount, more than some of the other hurry up teams out there. So just us getting in and out of the huddle, I think, is awesome with the coach comms, because whether it's a play on the wristband or a play that he's just reciting to us and we have to remember it and recite it in the huddle, it's awesome just to be able to have have our play caller in our ear and tell
Yeah.
us what he's thinking. I think that it's awesome especially, just you don't have to go drive to drive without hearing his voice and like kind of knowing what
Mm.
he's thinking. You're getting a quick coaching point. So it'll be super important for us to just, dial in that operation, which I think that we've done a great job of so far, between the spring and the fall. It's been great, just especially even just getting practice of, reciting plays. He's kind of testing us out with some of the longer play calls and seeing how well we can handle it, and then figuring out what's going to work for us and what's not going to work for us in the season. So I think it'll be a really extremely important weapon for us to use in the fall, and especially how good we already were with the huddle operation last year and in years past. It'll be great for us.
So like last year, or in years past, even going back to my time, there'd be a signal on the sideline that would represent numbers. You'd then go to your play sheet on your wrist, call the play to the huddle, but there's no real communication. This year he's in here, and this is true in the NFL. You see the quarterbacks, he's talking to you. And is this an example? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, we're calling all go special. Remember, if it's middle field close, or if it's too high, look here. If the safeties roll, look here. Hey, if it's two man, be ready to run. Is that, does he have enough time to kind of give you that quick coaching cue before the clock hits off?
Yeah, that's one of the most important things we've been working on. Like he'll always just remind us, get in and out of the huddle here, just quickly get in and out of the huddle. So and a part of that is also us being able to speak the same language. It's kind of like we have certain code words. Like he could say one thing and it'll trigger 5 pages of notes we have in our mind. And so we actually this past spring built kind of a little sheet, just catchphrases by coach. And so it's just little things, and even just sent it to Jaden Davis a little while ago, just kind of getting him on par with everything we're doing in the room. And it's just like certain things that he says, and it may not make sense to anybody else in the world, but it's like he could say it real quick, and we all know what it means. And so it's little stuff like that that helps. And every second, time is precious. So I think that every extra second that we have at the line, and breaking out of the huddle, it's super important. So it really helps just being on the same page with him, and then being able to make those quick, really easy coaching points.
I'm gonna just, this. That's the part you'll miss one day. I miss that. Just having fun, talking the language. Like even when you're in
Yeah.
class, like you're using the coachisms, you're
Oh
hanging with your
yeah.
boys. That's the best part. Man, I'm just really curious. What's it like to be the quarterback of Michigan? To be in this quarterback battle. To go. You're talking about pages and pages of notes, practice, rotating reps, and then walking around campus. What has this whole experience been like for you?
I think for me, it's awesome. It's obviously a blessing. I can't take it for granted any day. Thank the Lord I woke up this morning and I'm able to still live that life. I think that one of the most underrated parts of like the situation that we're all in right now is that people think that a quarterback battle is heated, war. You're going against each other. You're trying to compete,
Mhm.
and I think that we're probably five of the most competitive people on the team. But at the end of the day, like we all love each other so much that between the quarterbacks and the tight ends, I don't know what's the closest room on the team, but I got to say it's the quarterbacks. I think that everything that we do it together, whether we're on the field or off the field. There's never any animosity between quarterbacks, because at the end of the day, we're competing, but it's only one of us on the field at a time, and we all want to see the offense move forward. So that's all you can really ask for. I think that no matter who's taking the reps, no matter who's in during practice, we're all just trying to help each other out. And so it's something that really gets overseen is whenever, a quarterback will come off to the sideline and, they put the headset on and talk to the coach or talk to, the other position groups. I think the most important part on Saturdays is when the quarterback comes to the sideline, is able to talk to the other quarterbacks, because, like
Yeah.
I said, when you're all speaking the same language, seeing through the same lenses, those are the guys that are going to shoot it to you straight. I saw this, I saw this. Why didn't you do that there? And you get to have those conversations that it's just like you're back in the meeting rooms that you were in 100 times during camp, and so it's awesome. And then as far as just like the position of being a Michigan quarterback for me, I think that it's, like I said, a huge blessing. It's a really important piece to what I want to do in life. The main thing for me is just being able to, have a platform, have an influence, and be able to spread the word of God, spread what I believe in, and the things that I think are true and important. And so it's really gifted me with, an extremely large and influential position to be able to talk to a bunch of different people and influence a bunch of different people and show them kind of the way that I think and the different things that I do to grow with my relationship with God. And so it's really been awesome to be able to influence teammates, fans, family members, friends, people that I don't even know, and just I think it's been really amazing.
What a great testament of your faith too, to say, hey, in the biggest battle of your life, there's no selfishness. It's about service still, and I
No
wonder,
doubt.
you tell me, I mean, because you seem so chill, man. And I think a lot of people outside put a ton of pressure on this battle. Did you watch the Olympics at all? Because I look at the basketball and I look at, Steph and KD. Everyone was pinning those guys against each other. Steph hits that shot, and the first one to come celebrate with him is KD. The first one to show him
Oh
love is
yeah.
Kevin Durant. And it's just funny to me how so much of this noise is outside. And what I'm hearing from you right now is, the love you guys have for one another in this battle. Does that kind of help maybe take the edge off of this? I know you're still a competitor, but is that fair to say?
I think, I mean, I think so. I don't think that there's I think in a lot of aspects, when we talk about competitiveness, I feel like there's a few different types. So I think that there's obviously the competitiveness between two adversaries, two people that are going against each other. And in that aspect, I think that there's something I said back to the quarterbacks in the spring about just like to be a great football player, sometimes there's going to be people that think you're a little crazy, right? Obviously, there's the linebacker type of crazy. They're button heads and do whatever they do. But I think that for us, it's like people probably think it's so crazy the way that we're able to show so much love toward the people on our side, and all it takes is a different color jersey. We're able to show so much love and so much compassion, willing to do anything. But then as soon as it's someone else, someone else is threatening our territory, someone else coming in the big house, we're ready to kill them. We're ready to go do whatever it takes to put them down, get them out of our way. And so it's like a switch can be flipped just like that. I think that that's a super important part of it. And so within the quarterback room, really, I think that this is one thing that probably holds true across the country, just kind of the quarterback fraternity of football. If you're in practice and you see one quarterback, he gets man covered, say he has a slot fade and he throws an absolute dime down the field to, a speedy receiver, go find those other quarterbacks. I guarantee you they're the littest people on the field. I
Yep.
promise you. No one else is going to be more excited about a beautiful ball, about, a clean pocket movement. The biggest things and the little things. The quarterbacks are always going to be the most excited for each other, especially when
Yeah.
you see, something like it's as simple as a pre-practice drill, go to the game or go to, practice, go to group, go to team, go to it's stuff like that. Us in the quarterback room the other day, watching JJ's first, NFL action, we were talking about his first completion, and it's like our pre-practice drill. He was working an up right pocket movement and then delivered a strike right down the middle of the field. It's like little stuff like that. You won't see anybody else get more excited for it than fellow quarterbacks.
You guys know how hard it is. You know how so of
Oh
course
yeah,
it's you're an artist. You appreciate the art of it, how hard that is. I man, even the secondary is going to see that slot fade and be like, "Hey, that's nice." I think everybody can
yeah,
appreciate that a little bit. It's beautiful, and you mentioned the competition. You guys are going against one of the best defenses every single day. You're going against a ferocious defensive line. The secondary's deep.
yeah.
They're mixing in looks. What's that? And that it's been a few years now. I mean, at one point in your career, I'd imagine you were running scout team too. What's that like going against this defense? How has that help prepare you for this moment?
Yeah, I think starting with like freshmen and like a decent amount last year, just fall or scout team. It's a huge tool, a huge weapon for any quarterback in development, especially when you get to go against Mikey Sanders still, Mason Graham and trying to throw at Will Johnson. It's not easy, but if you can find a way, you get so many opportunities each day throughout the season and stuff like that. If you can find a way to do it in those moments, it makes everything else easier. We talk about how when the best teams in the nation, they're always gonna, practice is gonna feel a lot easier than the game. And that's how it should be. So I think that, going into right now, between this past spring camp and this fall camp, one of the biggest things is going against such a talented defense with a great coordinator like Coach Wink. I mean, when we first started to see the stuff that they were doing in spring ball, it was like It's like, yeah, like these guys are going to be real deal again. And it's like you
Mhm.
knew they would be. They could go out and they could play base coverage, no pressure, all that every play, and they would be an elite defense. But then also
Yeah.
combining it with a great football mind like Coach Wink, and then also him imparting his knowledge on, the guys, being able to talk to, Will and Ernest and Jay Sean, like extremely talented dudes, but also like their knowledge of the game just keeps growing day by day. And so I think that it's awesome whenever we have, great offense and great defense, physically gifted and able to, sharpen iron with iron, but then also being able to get in those meeting rooms and, just kind of sit down sometimes and eat lunch and talk about ball. Like everyone's really getting smarter off of each other. I think that it's one of the key parts of, you know, being at Michigan. You get to be an elite athlete, have a bunch of guys on the freaks list, but then also
Yeah.
super smart people. I think that, you know, obviously there's a difference between book smart, street smart, ball smart, but whenever you're smart enough in general to be able to, take the knowledge that you have and apply it to something that you love, we got a bunch of dudes that just know ball in the facility.
Yeah. I just even to just go back to JJ's preseason game as just an example is when the stakes are high, like in the NFL, the stakes are high going against the defenses that you guys are going against, the stakes are high. And I think about, that circus route he throws. A completion, you just put it on his hands, that's a completion. But when the stakes are high, that better be on his outfield shoulder and it better be down and away from the defender. That's a difference of a yard or two. But that yard or two makes all. If you're going against Will Johnson, anytime you throw his way, he's going to be in coverage. So the ball location has to be perfect. And then think about
Mhm.
what that does for the rest of the season when you guys are playing Fresno State to open it, or Texas, or Oregon, Ohio State. Like what a fun opportunity. And it also, what that can lead to, you get to realize your full potential. Do you feel like this now being in this quarterback battle has elevated your process, your on field play, your preparation? Being in this battle and getting the chance to go with the ones when you do get those reps, going against the one defense, has that just taken your game to another level?
Yeah, I think it definitely has. Things like, you know, we're it's a phrase that, any offensive player that goes against a great defense every day says pretty often. I'm sure that you've heard it before. It's like, I'm glad those guys are on our team at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I'm glad that, they got the white jerseys, we're wearing blue, but, we're all wearing the wing helmets. Sometimes you got to remind them, like, you know, it's really going to be good for us in the end. I think that it's hard going against them, but it's also fun. And like you said, such a great opportunity. There's nothing like it. And it's awesome to be able to collaborate with, the other quarterbacks and Coach Campbell and the other, position groups of the offense to try to figure out a way like, how are we going to whoop the defense today? And it's
yeah,
been great back and forth. Um, it really elevates you because, like you were saying, with Will Johnson, like throwing at him, he's going to be in coverage every play, and it's like it's awesome knowing that you get to have so many reps, banked reps against him of trying to put the ball in the perfect spot. And then when you go in the big house, there's not going to be another corner in the nation that comes in that's as good as him. And
hmm,
then, our O line is getting that much better going against Josiah, TJ Guy, Derek Moore, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. Like, you're just never going to see those guys on a Saturday. And so
right,
it's awesome to, even from the quarterback position and the running backs, tight ends, receiver, we're going to have to process a little bit faster because, those trench battles are happening a little bit quicker. And so just us being able to process things and see things a little bit quicker. Also, from the secondary, I think that the older guys in the secondary, the guys that have been there a little longer, even, newer guys like Wesley Walker and Makari Page, Quentin Johnson, like the way that they got on the same page so quick and they're able to disguise stuff for us, it's like sometimes you go back to the locker room and it's like, you did a really good job at pissing me off today, but I appreciate
right,
it. The
right.
way that they're disguising stuff here and there and just kind of, tricking us, getting to know what we're looking at, kind of, they're getting, football smarter too. They're figuring out what quarterbacks are keying and different things like that. And so, it's awesome to go against them, but then also realizing like we're going against the best in America. We're going against the greatest. Like when it comes to Saturdays, it makes it that much easier, that much, more fun knowing that you've been put up against the test, you've been put up against the gold standard. So now it's like you have to be that. You have to rise to the expectation that you set. And so
Yeah.
Coach Campbell says it all the time. No man rises to a low level expectation. So I wouldn't want it any other way.
Mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, man. And I'd imagine with the disguising of the coverages too, like it eliminates Sometimes you can guess. If you know the picture, you could just say, "Oh, well, I've seen this before." Snap the ball and just go play ball. But against this Baltimore Ravens, Wink Martindale, disguised coverage, disguised blitz, like you have got to be mentally on pre-snap. Otherwise, you don't have a shot. You don't have a shot. So,
Oh yeah.
man, I know we got to let you run here. Just want to say thanks so much for your time. Before we let you out of here, it's been great to listen to you and the leadership on this team. Like, you talk about your faith, you talk about how you've grown. I know Donovan has shared that. A lot of guys have shared that. I'm just curious, what your expectations are for yourself as we finish up camp and going into this season. How do you measure success?
For me, it's tough because I think that it's super important for goals to be measurable. But I think that my biggest goal for this season is to be able to, affect as many people as I can. I think that sometimes it's kind of looked down upon to, let a sport or the position you play be your entire personality trait. Like, oh, he's just, like, how is his whole personality just him being a football player? How's him, whatever it is? I think that there was a time that I looked in the mirror and I really sat there and thought about it that I really do feel like God blessed me with all the tools to be a quarterback. And when I say that, I don't mean that he gave me a big arm or made me athletic. I think that everything, away from that, I think that being a quarterback is so much more than off the field. It's even more than reading coverages. It's more than studying film. I think that, it's more than the leadership. It's all of that put together. I think that it's being able to affect people at the end of the day. When you have that ball in your hands and that receiver gets open, you affect his day, affect his rep by, getting him the ball. And like you said, the way that you get it between first down and touchdown. And so I
Mhm.
think that being a quarterback, sometimes people don't, whether it's just in life or in general, they don't always have, the things that they wish they had in life. And being able to affect someone else's life, being able to be a blessing for them, I think that that's what it is. It's not just, between the white lines or just in the facility, in the training room, in the weight room, whatever it is. It's being able to affect people's lives just in general. I don't think that quarterback, I don't always look at it as a football position. Sometimes it's just, it's a position of life. It's like who you are, being able to, like I said, be a blessing in other people's lives. That's the biggest thing for me. That's the main thing that I want to do after talking to my parents about it for so much time. Just like trying to figure out what that voice from God would sound like. And so, through plenty of conversations with him, I feel like he's really blessed me with all the tools to be able to, build a platform, build influence, affect people, use the resources that I have to help other people out. I think that it's the most important thing for me. And so as long as I'm, able to stay true to myself, be able to spread his word, I think that'll be success for me.
Yeah, man, I think that's a great answer. Actually, I have never heard that answer before, but I think that's perfectly put and greatly defines leadership. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you do exactly that, hearing about it as camp winds down and observing it here throughout the season. So I know camp is busy. I know it's crazy. I appreciate you carving out 30 minutes for us here. Really, really great to talk to you, man. And I'll be at practice sometime here in the next few weeks and looking forward to coming to say hey to you and watching you guys compete.
Gotcha. Appreciate it always.
All right, man. Take care. All right, guys. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for tuning in. We will see you next episode.